Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 4 of Magik, written by Ashley Allen and art by German Peralta. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So with that said, this issue opens in the forest of Ecuador with Magik and Dani Moonstar fighting off a horde of demons. And as they fought, Dany stated, "Give it up, Illyana. We have to talk about this. You've never been good at the silent treatment." Now, to this, Magik answered with, "What do you want me to say?" "Oh, Dany, my hero, thanks for saving me. You know, I couldn't handle this by myself." With that said, Dany replied by saying, "No need to get snippy. I'm one of your oldest friends, not your enemy. I'm entitled to my opinion about your deal with Lionel. I don't understand why you would allow him to destroy your mental barriers against Darkchild. It let you escape his domain, but he only gave you 3 weeks to stop him. That's not enough time." Now this statement prompted Magik to tell Dany that she still doesn't trust her after all these years. To which Dany shot back with, "I don't trust Darkchild. You forgot that I've been here from the beginning. I've seen what that demon can do and what it does to you. Help me understand. Wasn't there another way? If you had stayed in Liminal's realm just a bit longer." Now, to this, Magik cut her off and stated, "So you wanted me to stay trapped?" To that Dany quickly answered with, "No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you had taken more time, there might have been a loophole." Following that statement, Magik went on to say, "You have been there since the beginning. So you know that's unfair of you to ask of me." So with her sword over her head, we then get a narration saying, "Guilt builds in my stomach, both for my treatment of Dany and for making this deal with Liminal. I know I'm being unfair, but I can't let Dany see that Darkchild's strength persists. Even without her psychic powers, she has always been able to see through me, whether on the New Mutants or now. Yet Darkchild's reins are gone, and her anger is now my anger. And it feels so hot." So with that narration out there, Dany then went on to say, "You keep purposely misinterpreting my words. I love you, but you can't shut me out just because you're shutting down." This statement led Magik to shoot back with, "I told Cyclops that I don't need a babysitter. I can get to Liminal Seal at the top of the mountain by myself." And at that moment, Dany revealed that Cyclops wasn't the one that sent her. In fact, she was so taken aback that she was like, "Why the hell will IU be taking orders from him anyway?" So, following several demons falling out the sky, Magik then went on to say, "Of course, instead, you'll just leave your friends and follow some made-up secret society." Now to this statement, Dany corrected Magik by saying, "He Society of the Eternal Dawn has existed for decades. I made my choice just like you." Now because Magik didn't trust them, Dany replied to that by saying, "If you don't trust them, then trust me. You trust Kel, and his grandmother was part of the same organization." But to combat that, Magik stated, "That was inherited. How did they find you?" To that, Dany answered by saying, "We crossed paths after Krakoa. They knew I had experience fighting supernatural threats and asked me to join. Remember when we took down the demon bear that had been haunting my family? The Order's mission hits close to home. I'm here to protect the seals. The Dawn's only goal is to prevent impending apocalypses." This led Magik to say, "Then why not prevent Liminal's rise?" To which Dany stated, "Liminal has been stopped before. But he's acted quicker than expected, and our numbers are limited. Mutant blood contains more energy than humans. With the modern proliferation of mutants, he can break his seals with fewer sacrifices." Now this causes Magik to say she expected better of Dany because she wasn't suspicious at all. Following that, Dany stated, "What if the Society had known what was coming? What if I could have helped prevent Krakoa's fall? With the Dawn, I can have the most impact, making sure our communities are safe. I can use their knowledge to our advantage. The perks are nice too. Their enchanted peachwood bow amplifies my X-gene. Dawn Piercer transforms my psionic arrows to repel demons." So as the arrow hit its target, Dany continued to ask if her stepping discs were still acting up. To which Magik said, "Would I still be on this gondola if they were back to normal? Liminal's energy is spreading, affecting my powers. Cal would be with us if I thought I could evaluate him if needed. We need a plan." And the plan they decided on was hooks and daggers. So with that decided, we then get a narration saying, "For a moment, it feels like nothing has changed. Normally, that would terrify me. But fighting alongside Dany feels like coming home. However, I can't afford to stay in that feeling. I won't risk her safety. Dany needs to leave." And right when she thought that, a demon filled with thought things threw and cut the cable that was keeping them up in half, causing them to fall to the ground below. And once down there, Dany stated, "We need to move. Liminal's influence is spreading, and the forest is taking on demonic qualities. Already, The local researchers are driven from this mountain. The mutants among them were being specifically targeted. Let's get to the seal and fast. So as they continued to walk, Dany pointed out a tree and said, there are symbols of old magic on it that mean the seal is still close. So as they continued their journey, Magik stated, you're not the leader of the new mutants anymore. I was handling this mission just fine on my own. I'm not an idiot. I don't need you telling me Liminal Steel was bad. I can defeat him and control Darkchild on my own. You can leave now, even if you don't trust me. Now this touched Dany, because she went on to say, my trust, you said something similar before. I don't understand. And before she could get her answer, out in the woods came another horde of demons. So as Dany held them off, Magik charged forward to help even the odds in this fight. But when she tried to cast a spell, nothing happened. And due to that failure to cast, she started to narrate saying, I should have foreseen that suppressing Darkchild would wreak havoc on my magic. She's more intertwined with my soul than ever before. So with that spell doing absolutely nothing, Magik switched gears and attempted another spell, and to her surprise, it was extremely more powerful than her last used. Which is crazy, cause where one spell was too weak, the other came to be overpowered. With that going down, Dany stepped in as Magik started to narrate saying, in this moment, Dany is a hunter, and an animal's first instinct is to fear the arrow. With her mutant ability, Dany creates illusions of her opponent's greatest fears. And paired with her psionic arrows, how could the beasts hope to tell which arrow is real? Which to dodge? Which to take? Escape becomes impossible. A stacked game of Russian roulette. So with that encounter over, Dany looked at Magik and said, you might want me to leave, but I won't until we ward Liminal Seal. We need to figure out what's affecting your magic. With that out there, Magik followed up with, I still have my soul's word. This is my fight, not yours. So this led Dany to say, stop protesting, think of it like old times. Actually, let's not. Do you remember the trouble we got into? But I suppose we could always outdo ourselves. Now following that, we got another narration saying, I recognized that demon from the area Liminal showed me. The mage responsible for Liminal's forced creation. Incorporated into his army. A punishment of eternal servitude for the slight against a newly crowned godchild. I had hoped we were remote enough that Liminal's general lacked mutant blood. I need to get those mutant researchers away from her. So as the newest challenger charged Magik, she shouted, despite having these mutants at the ready, I was told to wait for you both. Sacrificing a newly recruited society member would be a fitting way to break the seal. Your friend, no less. I can't wait to make you watch. So right when she was about to deliver her strike, Dany stepped in and distracted her for just a moment, giving Magik just enough time to launch a counterattack while Dany said, don't let her get in your head. Like you said, we're terrifying when we want to be. With that strike delivered, the enemy before them picked up her staff and let out a burst of energy, which pushed everyone away and removed their gravity. So as Dany and Magik floated around, the enemy turned around and started to attack the seals, killing each researcher, one at a time. Now this was something Magik couldn't just sit back and watch as she narrated saying, I should hesitate. I know the choice I should make. Liminal cannot be free. But there was never a choice at all. With that out there, Magik and Dany started to cut and shoot their way through the creatures. So as the seal started to collapse, the woman before them started to fade as she said, you should learn Liminal's will is inevitable. He refuses anything less. So with yet another broken seal, Magik dropped to her knees and cried out saying, why can't I do this? We always end right back here, don't we? Stuck in the same pattern. Faced with our real selves. You were right not to trust me. And while she was crying this out, we also got a narration saying, another seal falls. Liminal's power grows and with it Darkchild's influence. Anger boils over. At Liminal, at this situation. But most of all, at myself. But Dany wasn't about to let Magik collapse on herself, because like a real friend, Dany knelt down next to her and said, you have always faced impossible situations. Too much for most to handle. But you've always made the best choice you could. I do trust you, Illyana. But ultimately, you need to trust yourself. You've never let others define what or who you are. Don't start now. Now with that pep talk out of the way, Magik's eyes returned to being blue as she watched Darkchild before her say, I'm curious, what will you do? And with blinding speed, Magik dashed by Darkchild and returned to the battle before her. So with Darkchild activating, she shouted out, Liminal, are you watching? It's my turn to play now. And then Magik went on to narrate saying, I can't keep holding the seal shut myself, straining to maintain barriers around them. If I slip once, they'll reopen. However, with Darkchild's power, I easily ward off the seal. My magic sinks. And Darkchild is quiet. It's over. I finally have control. But just as Magik started to believe she was herself, Darkchild hopped up and said, "Please, we're not done." Now this caused Magik to drop down and say, "No, you have no power over me," as Darkchild tried to take over, saying, "We both know that's not true. You are not ignorant." So with things about to go bad, Dany walked up and placed her hand on her shoulder and said, "Remember, you are in control. Calm yourself, and trust that if you falter, I will always be there to pick you back up." And at that moment, for the first time since seeing each other again, Magik stated that she was glad that Dany was there. Now to this, Dany just continued her hug and said she missed her too. Following that battle coming to a close, we then transitioned back to base camp with Dany talking with Magik saying, "That's what you're worried about?" To which Magik replied by saying, "I escaped Limbo, we put Madeline Pryor in control, but it's the same cycle. What if I'm forever doomed to repeat my past? What if Limbo put a fundamental flaw in me?" With that question in the air, Dany replied by saying, "Quit that, you're one of my oldest friends. I know you are a good person. Not in spite of your past, but because of your past. You've always been there for me. I'll always be there for you. That's what friends are for. Even when they disagree with one another. That doesn't mean I've ever stopped trusting you." So with that reassurance given, the two women sat down and started to think of a plan to stop Liminal. Now this lighthearted moment led to Magik saying, "I'm scared, I weaken with each seal I ward, and Darkchild only grows in power. I don't know how much longer I can do this." So after Dany promised to keep fighting and the two women worked through the night. At one point, Magik walked away, to which Cal arrived on the scene and started to talk with Dany. And during their conversation, Cal asks, "So, you're in this same society that my grandmother was in. Did you know her?" To which Dany states, "No, most of us work alone. But there's a council that guides our actions. The society doesn't believe disasters will never occur, but they work to prevent them or bring about their end, ushering in a new dawn." So with that out there, Dany went on to ask, "Illyana trusts you, and I trust her. But I do not trust the Darkchild. And I have no clue how much influence it now holds over her. So I need you to watch over Illyana." Bow quickly, Cal put two and two together and asked if she meant that she wanted him to spy on her. And then he asked, "If you trust her, then why do you need me to do this?" To which Dany replied by saying, "Illyana is one of my oldest friends. But that means I've seen her lose herself to Darkchild, despite her best efforts. I've seen the consequences. I want to protect my friend. If I need to plan ahead to do so, I will." Now this prompted for Cal to point out that if she do this, then Magik may not see her the same way. But unfortunately, Dany could only reply by saying, "No, I can't. Illyana is too independent, she'll misinterpret my intent. If she even heard me say this to you, she'd never trust me again." And on the last page of this issue comes to an end, with Magik overhearing everything as she cried outside in the shadows alone. Now down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.